Hey, good morning, everyone. It's nice to be here. Jon Woodford, Bbva Compass. So I asked my kids, I said, what's the one thing I should do during my presentation? And my boy says, don't fall off the stage. So I will resist the urge to fall off the stage this morning. I want to talk to you about planning, if we can, for just a moment. And I'm sincerely honored and excited to share our success story with you. So with Bbva Compass, we just recently implemented this concept of lead with planning. Excuse me. So this drives and does everything that we do within a firm. So before we do that, though, let me tell you about a plan that I had in 2007. So in 2007, I read a blog by a friend. She had just completed her first Ironman triathlon. Now, how many of you in here are triathletes or have done a triathlon before? All right, good. So there's a number of you that have done it. So guys, there's different levels of triathlons, right? You can do a sprint level triathlon, which is, it composes three elements. There's a swim element to the triathlon. There's a running element to it, and there's also a biking element. The biking actually comes second. After sprint, there's an Olympic distance. After Olympic, there's a half Ironman distance, and then the mega one, right, is called the Ironman distance. So that was my goal. I wanted to do an Ironman triathlon. It was a 2-year goal, a 2-year plan. I had to work with a team to do that. I couldn't do it on my own. I was about 50 pounds heavier than I am now. When I first started, I got with like-minded individuals, and we're somewhat crazy, I have to admit, right, to be able to do this. But imagine on the morning of the triathlon, you wake up early, you arrive at the transition area. You set up your bike, you set up your run gear, you set up your swim gear. If you're in one of those climates that's cold, you got your wetsuit cap, you've got your little booties and everything. We did it in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho last year, and it was 53 degrees was the water temperature. At 6:30 in the morning, so imagine what time it is now, about 11:15, so at 6:30 this morning, 2,500 of my favorite, craziest friends, we all got in the water at the same time, and you tread water for about half an hour until the swim start. So you're out there treading water because it takes a while to get that many people in the water at the same time. It's a mass swim start. If you can imagine treading water with 2,500 people, the cannon booms right at 7 o'clock in the morning. That's when the race begins. So the cannon goes off and everyone starts swimming, or trying to swim, right? The semblance of swimming, right? It's more like a washing machine with elbows and knees and feet and kick and everything else. Anybody know how far you swim? Yell it out if you know the answer in an Ironman triathlon. 2.4 miles. Now you have a cutoff time of 2 hours and 20 minutes to get it done. If you get it done, you may proceed to the next event. So most people do, a few people don't. You know, it's tough out there, it's tiring, it's challenging, as you can imagine, and if you can breathe, you will succeed. That's the bottom line, right? And if you've had a good plan and you've implemented that plan, all the better. At the end of that, you run into transition, you change out of your swim gear and put your bike gear on, and you go for a bike ride. Anybody know how far you go on the bike ride? Close, 118, somebody said it. 112 miles. Now, once again, depending on the area, the elevation, you know, if you're in Florida, you've got it flat. If you're in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, you've got over 7,000 feet of climbing to do during that 112-mile bike ride, right? Once again, you've got cutoff times. If you're done on time, and I think you have to be done by about 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, once again, it's 11:15. So imagine starting at 7 this morning, swimming 2.5 miles, 2.4, and then biking for 112 miles. When you're done, you stumble back into, I shouldn't say stumble, you run back into transition, right? You change out of your biking gear, you throw on your running shoes, your running hat, your running glasses, and you start a run. And how far is the run? 26.2 miles, marathon. So guys, imagine getting up at 7, starting the race at 7. The cutoff time is at what time? Anybody know? Midnight. You've got until midnight to get it done. If you're done by midnight, you are an Ironman, you're crowned, you get the award, you get the medal, you get bragging rights for life. It's a cool rush. You've got tens of thousands of spectators cheering you on every step of the way. You know you're almost there. You know you've almost hit your goal. Did my first Ironman in 2009 in Tempe, Arizona. It was a great rush. It was fun. My family was there. They slugged it out with me the whole day, and I was able to get done at 7:30 just as the sun was going down. It was a beautiful day. But many of my buddies and training partners didn't get done until that 11th hour, 11:45, 11:50. They're really pushing the edge and cutting it close, right? All right. So guys, I've had the opportunity now to do 5 Ironmans. It drives my crazy side. It's something I enjoy. I'm passionate about it. If any of you want to discuss triathlons and Ironmans, would love to discuss it with you. But know that you can't just get out there and do it. It takes a team. It takes a plan. So guys, let me talk to you about planning today for just a little bit if we can. MoneyGuidePro's invited us up, and they are a firm that we like to call a leading practice. Write this down if you would. It's not a best practice. Everybody has best practices, right? They come and go, and when the next best practice comes along, that one supersedes the one before it. We believe we have a leading practice in our relationship with MoneyGuidePro. Now, leading practice has 3 tenets. Number 1, it's got to be predictable. So it's a process that's predictable from beginning to end, from data collection through implement and monitoring. It is a process that we can predictably follow. Number 2, it's got to be replicable. It's got to scale to the audience. We've got over 500 users today using MoneyGuidePro. It's not a lot, but it represents all of our broker-dealer. It represents all of our wealth management and some of our retail banking partners as well. So I want to share with you some of the specific numbers, some of the cases, and everything that goes with it. The 3rd tenet, right, so it's got to be replicable, a repeatable process. It's got to be predictable. And the 3rd one, guys, is it has to be profitable. And not just for the firm. It's got to be profitable for the client, it's got to be profitable for the advisor, and it's got to be profitable for the firm at all 3 levels. If that meets that case, then that is a leading practice for us. So guys, I want to share with you a leading practice today. And I'm happy for the invitation from MoneyGuidePro and the partnership that we've had with them over the last 3 years. So with that, is it the big green button, guys? Yes, it is. A little bit about BBVA. I'm sure some of you have struggled with that before. What does BBVA mean? Well, you got to speak Spanish to say it right, but it's Banco Bilbao Vizcaya Argentaria. How did I do? You Spanish speakers out there, do we do that all right? It is a Spanish-owned bank. We're in 32 countries today. We just released our financials just 3 weeks ago, so I can share this with you with confidence. The BBVA Group, 32 countries, 112,000 plus employees, 10.96 billion in gross income, that's in euros, 2.88 billion in net profits, that's euros. BBVA Compass, as you know, is the old Compass Bank. We're based out of Birmingham, Alabama. That's where the operations center is. And then our wealth management group is in Houston, and that's where my team is, as a part of our financial planning center. BBVA Compass for the first 2 quarters of this year, 247 million in net income, 52.4 billion in deposits, and 47.6 billion in loans. All right? All right, so that's Banco Bilbao Vizcaya Argentaria, so BBVA, Spanish-owned bank. When we selected MoneyGuidePro, the due diligence we went through, the selection process, the criteria that we used. Let me share some of that with you. Number 1, first and foremost, this had to be easy to use, guys. We're not going to implement something that's challenging, that's difficult, that's not going to get utilized, that's going to be an excuse for not having adoption, right? So it needed to be easy to use. And some of the tools that we've really enjoyed with MoneyGuidePro is, A, it's internet-based. So you can log in at work as the advisor. You can start the plan at work. You can log into your computer at home and finish that plan if you want to. You can present the plan to your client on your iPad or your smartphone or any other device that you had at their place of business, at their house, at their work. Excuse me, you can go into Starbucks and access the plan if you want to, but it is very accessible, easy to use. There's some nice features and functions in the tool, something called My Way. Those of you that have implemented MoneyGuidePro with and you realize this, the My Way tool streamlines what the advisor can see right out of the gate. So it gives them the simplified set of tools up front and then the ability to turn on and off that functionality which they need or don't need, like estate planning and risk management and some of the other valuable tools that are within that software. So ease of use, ease of access was the first criteria that we selected that we looked for as we did this due diligence. I know many of you from the Kramer roundtables, my association with Jack Kramer for 10 years as a consultant in this space. Now I get the opportunity to implement it with BBVA Compass, and I'm real excited about that opportunity. The second one was integrated solutions. Guys, we needed a tool that was integrated with the way we do business. We clear through Pershing with NetX 360. All of our advisors use it in the broker-dealer. We are now forcing all of our licensed banking population to do it as well. We've got about 1,200 of them in our 720-plus branches. MoneyGuidePro is integrated with Pershing NetX 360. We love it. You can start the plan, click a button to manage integrations, and all of those brokerage assets flow right into the plan. It's so nice and it's so quick. Simple plans, asset allocation plans in 5 to 10 minutes. It is phenomenal. Success stories are rolling in from the field as we can do these very simple, very easy to use plans. In fact, the retail bank got so excited about it, they put together a nice 2 or 3 minute commercial, and it's now a part of the retail bank's client onboarding process. So on day 85 of a new client relationship, and on day 115 of that new client relationship, they get sent out an email with a link that has a nice commercial offering to do a risk assessment for free. So guys, we're doing complimentary planning. The client walks into the branch and says, hey, I'd like to take advantage of this complimentary plan, this risk assessment, and we'll do that for them. All right, the third one on the list, so if we could have, there we go, thank you. Service and support. Guys, we got a great service and support model through MoneyGuidePro. They've got CFPs on staff. They've got, I believe the latest numbers, and Connor, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but an 82, 83% call answer rate on the first, when you first dial in. So the hours are comparable to what our hours are that we need to be available to support our group. And then, of course, we also have our financial planning center, so we support those guys as well. But great service and support model. They handle that. It's a part of our contract. We're very pleased with that. It needs to be market appropriate. So we address clients at all levels. On the bank side, of course, we're working with mass market, and we can do plans for them, and the tool works very well for working with the mass market. But also on the high end, within our wealth management operations and domestic private banking, we've hired a wealth strategist as a part of our team. And Kevin's here today. If you guys get a chance, he's over here on the end. Kevin, raise your hand if you would. Thank you, sir. Go introduce yourself to Kevin Ryan. He handles all of our ultra-high net worth clientele. So, it's a team-based approach. Either our broker or our financial advisor or private banker can come to us, have a client scenario, and we will plug and play those resources as needed. If this is a client that has a net worth of greater than 5 to 10 million, we'll typically get Kevin involved. He'll help us build out that plan and add on as needed. But guys, make no mistake about it. Every client gets a MoneyGuidePro plan. All right, so client-centric. The tool needs to be client-centric and easy to use in our new model. We have an advice-based model. It's client-centric. And what that means to us as a firm is that we do right by the client. We give them what they need. They're not going to reach their goals without a plan. Just like I wasn't going to reach my goal of being an Ironman without a plan, they're not going to reach their goals without a plan either. And so we've implemented that model, and now everybody gets a client, or everybody gets a plan. Cost, of course, was a factor. I need to let you know that they were very competitive in their rates, so much so that we're going to renew our contract for another 3 years, the end of this year. So we're excited about this relationship. We've had the tool now for 3 years. Coming up in February, we're going to implement and do another 3 years. It's just that powerful, and we can't help but do it. All right, those are the planning criteria. The culture at BBVA Compass, guys, every client gets a MoneyGuidePro plan. Unequivocally. I mean, that sounds like a huge, insurmountable task to do. Broker adoption, I have to admit, we've done all the training, we've done the webinars, we do live training, we've got, WebExes that are recorded, we have sample plans, we've got a whole resource library put together for these guys. And truth be told, it's about 25 to 30% adoption at the broker-dealer level. We have about 240 commission-based advisors, not advisors, but brokers. And it's about 25 to 30% that jumped in right off the bat, saw the vision, have been reaping the success of this, and they work with their retail banking partners because they support the banking operations for BBVA Compass. So these guys get it, and they've jumped off on their own, and they do it. My team will also support them to the extent that we can. So once again, leveraging the power of NetX 360 and MoneyGuidePro will help them proactively build plans, go out to their offices and show them what we built, walk them through the analysis. We've apply a nice document template to it or a presentation template to it and show them exactly what to present. If the need be, then of course we'll elevate that client to a more sophisticated model or more sophisticated plan. Holistic financial planning, certainly on the wealth management side, we have about 60 private bankers that utilize our tools, and we have 15 financial advisors as a part of our financial planning center that are centralized to that group. So yes, we have a centralized planning model, but we also offer it to anybody that wants it. They can use it themselves without using our centralized planners. So 15 financial advisors supporting all of our domestic private banking. They work with clients typically $1 million and above. Their adoption rate is over 90%. And I'll tell you why. We made the decision early on, let's use a carrot and stick approach, right? Which works better? Well, they both work great, right? The carrot approach is if you use a plan and you bring in outside dollars, you get an extra 5% to your grid. Okay, so we pay extra for outside assets. When you work in a team, everyone gets paid. It hits everybody's grid, so that's kind of nice. And then the stick approach is we told our wealth management group that if you want to be eligible for your year-end bonus, you will have a certain amount of number of plans done, and that goal is made up in each of the regions, each of the markets with the market execs, and you'll have a certain amount of money in non-interest income. So assets under management, revenue, fees, those types of things. All right, so no longer is it just loans and deposits, but the third leg on this stool, of course, is going to be non-interest income. So that's the stick approach. That's why I think that might be why we have 90% adoption right now on the wealth management side. We've got a number of team members, guys. We have on the retail side the relationship managers. We've got the PIOs. Those are our personal investment officers. Those are our brokers supporting the 720 or so branches. There's 240 of them. They actually reside in the branches and do these MoneyGuidePro plans. A team-based approach, well, we'll bring in the wealth strategists like Kevin Ryan and his team, an insurance specialist. We just formed a relationship with Highland Capital Group. We're very happy with that, and they handle all of our insurance business. We have trust, mortgage officers, portfolio managers, and then, of course, our new financial planning center. Everybody on that team is a CFP. All right, so these are the support that we offer to our firm. Now this one shows a little bit of the ROI and a little bit of the correlation that we've done for the first part of the year. Plan counts are up, as you can imagine, right? We just took this over in November of last year. So we did a soft launch of MoneyGuidePro for the first 2 years. And the first year we did about 830-something plans. And second year we nearly doubled it to 1,430. Right now we're sitting close to 2,100 plans for the year. And we're growing that number astronomically. So we're seeing a lot of success that way. When we looked at the plans our advisors are doing, this is the slide on the right. Take a close look at this. Those that did somewhere between 5 and 10 plans, their run rate was that they were seeing an increase of about 4% to their revenue, right? When they do 10 or more plans, that increased to 36%. So guys, 10 is the magical number for us. That's about how many plans we feel each advisor needs to do to become proficient or have some level of proficiency in these tools. So using MoneyGuidePro, once you've hit that magical number of 10, and it might be different for each of you in what you do, but we've found that when you hit 10 plans, your confidence goes up, your ability to recommend and have advice-based solutions go up, the client's engagement goes up, everything goes up, and of course revenues do as well. For correlation numbers, let me just share this. This is the end of June, so June year to date. This is just for the wealth management team. This does not include our brokerage operations. So clearly it would be quite a bit more than that, but I don't have sufficient resources to cull all of the data for the broker-dealer, so I started with wealth management. June year-to-date brokerage AUM, $9.2 million. Wrap AUM, this is on our proprietary SmartPath products, $1.3 million. UMA solutions, so $32 million. Total brokerage wrap income revenue, $719,000, and then those clients that did plans also generated in new loans $61 million, and in deposits $7.2 million. All right, so this is just through the end of June. All right, 3 things. So MoneyGuidePro. You have a snapshot on the right of our SharePoint page. I don't know if you guys utilize Microsoft SharePoint. We found it to be a valuable tool for publishing information, making it hands-on, making it ready. Even the 2010 version of SharePoint is free. So we couldn't help but use it, right? It's a nice resource. So we've got a page within our resource center that's dedicated just to MoneyGuidePro plans. So there we've got our support numbers, sample video that the retail bank uses. We've got sample plans that they can print and have in the branches to share and show with potential clients and existing clients. We've got our toll-free numbers. We've got how do you access or how do you get access to the financial planning software? So all that's a part of our SharePoint site and our resource center. So a very nice, robust resource center. And then, of course, we ask MoneyGuidePro to come out and do. They'll either do webinar type trainings for us. We also avail ourselves of their online live trainings that they do. And they usually have 1 or 2 or 3 of them a week. So we publish that data out on our SharePoint site. And many of our advisors are on those calls every week. So it's a nice resource to have. NetX 360 integration, I talked about that. That's the link. It's a little puzzle piece link called Manage Integrations. And I'll tell you, it's fun seeing the advisors when they do it for the first time. That realization that they don't have to input 50, 60, 70, 80 assets or securities to build this plan is phenomenal. They can just click the button, it flows through, and they can go right into their analysis. So it's a brilliant integration that we're happy with. We offer client access. This is done through the Smart Portal function of MoneyGuidePro. It's something relatively new that we just turned on. We didn't have it for the full 3 years. We just turned it on the last part of last year. And the reason for that is we didn't have an email policy in place. So we did not allow our advisors to email their clients until just late last year. So at that point, we turned on the Smart Portal. That gives our reps the ability to turn on and off access for the client to see their plan. So they can build the plan, give client access. When the client logs in, they're forced to change the password the first time for privacy. And the nice thing is, as soon as they look at that plan, our rep gets an email back saying the client's been out there to their site and they reviewed the plan. They can also give them additional layers of access. So the client can go out there and do some of their own inputting of data, which is nice. They can do some what-if tools, and some of those, some of those tools I like to call the sleep at night factor tools, like the what-if tools, the clients can use the little sliders and the what-if tools as a part of this online access. Now, if the client makes any changes, it gets saved as a client version of the plan, and then, of course, that generates a nice conversation, a nice opportunity for our rep to have them come back in and have a conversation. Guys, when we position planning with our reps, it's truly not to sell MoneyGuidePro plans. That is not our objective. Objective is to have meaningful conversations with our clients, and this is the tool that helps us do that. We have good objective conversations. We have conversations about our clients' goals, their dreams, their aspirations, their desires, things that motivate them, right? Things that they've worked a lifetime to try and achieve. Our opportunity is to best serve them and show them a model, a path, a plan to help them answer those questions that are near and dear to all of our clients, right? Can I retire on time? Will I have asset sufficiency? Will I have enough to last me? Will I be able to reach all my goals? Can we send all of the kids through school? My mom and dad had 8 kids. Imagine having 8 college events, right? In MoneyGuidePro as you're planning for each of those college events. So it's a very visual tool, very easy to use, something we very much enjoyed. We've partnered with some nice resources. So we go with on our broker-dealer side, we make all of our reps get the CRC designation. That's the Certified Retirement Counselor. It's offered through INFRE. And of course, they've got some great tools that we can leverage. So we have some nice scripts and dialogues and some nice tools that we can offer to our reps. We also work with Canon Financial and do the CWS designation on our wealth management side. And so all of our financial advisors and private bankers are expected to get that CWS designation. And of course, we can leverage all of the Canon tools and the Jack Kramer and Associate tools as a part of our solution set. All right, so we've got a number of different scripts. I've found, and this is something I brought over, this is something that Kramer shared with us years ago, right? There's 2 approaches that you can take to working with clients. You can take a product approach, right? A product-centric approach, and you can start with a client with whom you have a one-product relationship, and you can gather a little data, right, and sell them another product that you have a high degree of confidence in selling, right? Well, that's what a lot of brokers do. This might be cutting out. No worries. And then time passes and you gather a little more information, and with that information you sell a third product, and over time, right, at the end of time, you hope that you have a client that stays with you forever, trusts you completely, and gives you all of their assets, right, to manage. But the problem with this approach, and you know it as well as I do, is that it is laden with exit points, lots of opportunities for the client to leave the relationship, to walk away and take their money elsewhere. The approach that we subscribe to and that we utilize with every one of our clients as we lead with planning vision is we start with that client with whom we have a one-product relationship or that new prospect, and we offer a financial plan up front. It may take a little bit more time to do that, and we're all right with that, but we've streamlined it and we figured out some efficiencies that we can make it quicker, and with Money Guide Pro's help, of course, we can do that. But we found that when you lead with planning, then all of the recommendations, the products, and I like to call them advice-based recommendations. It's not just products, right? It's advice-based recommendations that it becomes easier to implement them all at once. It's a holistic plan. It's all in. It's all or nothing, right? It's not a one-and-done approach where you just do a big plan and you slap a 200-page plan down in front of them. That's not the purpose of doing this, right? The point is that you do the plan first, you implement everything, and in the end you have a client that's more apt to stay with you forever, trust you completely, and give you all of their assets to manage. So that's the model that we subscribe to. I want to share just a few screens. This is directly from our version of the software. One of the nice things about Money Guide Pro is we did very little customization. Guys, one of our brokers' biggest complaints is that the tools that we implement, you know, being a part of a big, large firm, we think that we can build it better than anyone else, right? So we build our own CRM, we build a lot of our own tools, and in the end, you know, it may have been built in Spain and it doesn't translate exactly the same or have the same usability when it gets here to Bbva Compass in the States. And that's fine, right? But the point is that with Money Guide Pro, we have not had to customize anything, or very little, if anything. We were able to plug and play right out of the box and start having immediate success. There's a great current scenario that will plug right in as soon as you get done building the plan. We can build up to 3 or 4 different what-if scenarios side by side. We can save those scenarios. And one of the powers of this tool is that little tachometer. It's funny how something so simple can be so powerful, right? That little visual of that needle going up from below the confidence zone to in the confidence zone, or even above the confidence zone for our ultra high net worth clients, is a very powerful visual tool. All right, so we have Play Zone, Super Solve, which is a nice tool within Money Guide Pro. There's a hierarchy of rating your goals on a scale of 1 to 10. Brilliant, right? So retirement's always going to be a 10. Getting the kids to college might be a 10, 9, or 8. But the kitchen renovation, 10 years from now, well, that might be, maybe we'll rate that a 3 or a 4. Or that trip around the world, now, you know, that's a nice to have. If we could get there, let's rate that a 1 or a 2 or a 3. Right, so you've got this hierarchy of rating goals. And so with the Super Solve button, you can tell at what percent you want to get to. Oh, I want to get it to 83% and be in the confidence zone, and it will automatically help you see the plan visually, right, of what you need to do to get there. So it might force more of the assets towards the retirement goal and a little bit less towards the lower rated goals. All right. This is a sample of the asset allocation plan. This is the side-by-side comparison. On the left, you have the client's current portfolio. On the right, you've got the recommended model or the recommended portfolio. In the end, we're helping our clients try to maximize return and minimize risk. Lower standard deviation, right, with an easy-to-understand action plan. We can do these fairly quickly in about 5 to 10 minutes. One of the things we did integrate and implement into our version of the software is we did bring in our SmartPath portfolios. We have 2 RIAs within the firm with Bbva Compass, one on the West Coast in Florida, East Coast in Florida, and then one in Phoenix as well. We were able to bring in all of their portfolios. And so when we do asset allocation planning, you can drop down and choose the standard portfolios. Or if you're Series 65 or 66 and certified with Bbva Compass to sell managed account solutions, then you can choose one of our smart managed portfolios. And so we have all of those portfolios built into the tool with the underlying indices mapped appropriately to those asset classes. Our portfolio managers, if they make significant changes to those portfolios, very quickly they can email Money Guide Pro and have that changed within just a matter of hours. It's phenomenal. So we have a great relationship that way and are able to offer some of our products that are integrated with MoneyGuidePro. Some of the additional capabilities, of course, there's retirement analysis and home improvement, like a home line of credit. There's education planning. And not just at a broad level, but you can actually specify the exact institution or college that you want your kids to go to. Small business planning, setting up a business, starting a business, right? You can do a sale of a business, those types of things. You've got risk management like life insurance, estate planning, and then, of course, all of the various goals that go into this plan. So MoneyGuidePro truly is a goal-based planning tool, and then it offers cash flow analysis during retirement, which we really like because you can get into the numbers and see the ending portfolio value year by year by year during retirement. Here's an example of the mortgage opportunities. You can list other assets. You can assign mortgages to them. There's just any number of ways to do this. There's life insurance scenarios, a balance sheet, net worth statement that we really enjoy. Some of the estate and insurance efficiencies that are built into the tool. And then if we need to, for our ultra-high net worth client, we might bring in a third-party software like a Brentmark. But that all lies in Kevin Ryan, our wealth strategist's hands. So he'll bring in something if needed. But make no doubt about it, we do start with a MoneyGuidePro for everyone. Here's an example of the life and disability insurance there. In the orange, you can see the additional needed to be able to fund all the goals if the client were to pass away today. So that gives us that opportunity to sell additional life insurance and to make that a part of our plan. Same thing with disability needs analysis. There's a long-term care scenario. You can see the portfolio in blue, the erosion of those assets over time if they don't have a long-term care policy. And then, of course, if you do, it shows the steady level and you don't erode your portfolio. Here's a snapshot. It's kind of interesting. You have the current versus proposed. This is a part of the report template that we set up. We've got a nice wealth plan template that we set up for all of our wealth planning clients. And a part of that is this, looking at the combined details, so the current snapshot versus the proposed snapshot. So in one, it might show the erosion of assets over time, or even running out of assets before end of plan. Convenient way of saying when the client passes away, right? The other, of course, is showing the growth of those assets and being able to manage those portfolios and grow those assets over time instead of eroding the portfolio. So that gives our clients that peace of mind, the increased philanthropy and gifting, legacy versus liquidation, increased retirement spending opportunities. Of course, here's a snapshot of all of their goals. This is that what I was telling you about, that line by line, that cash flow analysis. It starts at retirement and gives you all the details that you need. So it gives you a nice portfolio value year over year with a detailed cash flow in retirement. So guys, I'm going to wrap up here in just a second, but I'm also going to open the floor to questions. So if you have a question, please be thinking of that and give you an opportunity to ask some of those questions. And then I'll also be over by the MoneyGuidePro booth, and Kevin will as well. If you want to discuss a specific scenario or ask a specific question, happy to share with you. So we're kind of a transparency, I guess. We like to run transparent business, good, clean business that's client-centric. What do wealth plans do for our clients? Guys, it's a roadmap. It's peace of mind. When they see the plan for the first time, there's this light bulb moment that goes off, right? They know that they're on track, or they know what they need to do, or it justifies what they've been doing all along. So there's any number of things, right? It's that roadmap to help them reach their goals, and it's that comprehensive, unbiased approach that we really like. For the advisor, it means more assets under management, more share of wallet, greater revenue, and less client attrition. And for the firm, of course, higher profitability and lower turnover. I wanted to share a few success stories. So I get the envious duty of listening to any complaints that might come in, but more so I get to hear the successes too, right? So these are some of the emails that came in just over the last few weeks. The bottom two I'll read verbatim, but you can read through some of these if you like. Jeff, this is a gentleman out of San Antonio, working with a new licensed banker. So he mentions, Letty and I had a great joint appointment. We were able to come up with a great financial plan. MoneyGuidePro is a vital part in bringing it all together. Customer had no long-term care, and they had no retirement roadmap. The customer was just shopping for a better return and not looking at the big picture. After careful planning, we were able to help secure her future by trying to stay out of the nursing home. The net result, the $300,000 sale, $18,500 in revenue. And then he added to the end of that, fireworks are still going off in July. So very excited about that success story. Michael, one of our successful advisors in the Austin area, sent me this email just a few weeks ago. Wanted to let you know MoneyGuidePro helped me secure a $560,000 rollover. Quote from client, I had no intention of doing this rollover. However, after our meeting, there's no way I can't do it. So there's no way I can't do it. All right, so guys, let me pause there if I can. And with the brights, it might be hard to see, but please, if you have a question, raise your hand. Let's have a mic come over. Is that Bruce Bbva down there? Uh-oh, turn that on, Bruce. There you go. How you doing, man?
Good, John.
Good.
Hey, so, talking about your branch-based reps that are doing these things.
Yeah.
So kind of a two-part question, kind of a counterintuitive. What would you say, now that you're getting some kind of a database built up, percentage-wise, the number of customers who do a plan with one of your branch-based reps and either don't act on it or take it to their other advisor?
Oh, wow.
Kind of worst-case scenarios there. That's part one.
All right, so first of all, with our branch-based reps, right, so these are our licensed bankers, right? We've got about 1,200 of them, and today we've really only offered it to our preferred relationship managers. So these are the guys that handle the top 200 relationship in each banking center. So those guys have access, and they might have a couple banking centers for which they're responsible for. So we've got a series of platform managers that coach, train, encourage. We've got 10 of them in our footprint that support these 1,200 licensed bankers. So you can do the math real quick and see how many they have a responsibility for. It's a lot of guys. Not all of them use the tools. Those that use it have got some strong success stories and need a little bit of hand-holding. We've seen on the licensed banker end, typically they'll lead with a risk assessment or an asset allocation plan. I don't get to see all of the success of that, so I don't know the exact adoption, but I can tell you that it's about 25% of them that have access use it regularly. And there's another 25% of them that dabble in financial planning, and then there's probably about 50% that have done one or none. So it's not mandated at that level.
But I'm not talking about the platform people, but your FCs or FAs, whatever. You said you got about a 25% adoption rate so far amongst your...
Yeah.
Now, so with the plans that those guys are doing, what percentage of those plans would you say result in a revenue generating event? And what are you seeing as the time frame from the day they actually get the customer's buy-in to do the plan to presentation and implementation, ballpark?
Yeah, so it's not a long turnaround time. It's typically a 2-meeting approach for these guys. So the guys that are doing it and they're doing it regularly, they're seeing a lot of success, Bruce. So they keep using the tools, obviously. So it's a high closing ratio, I guess I could say. But the time from beginning to end, it's typically a 2-meeting approach. The first meeting, they're gathering all of the information. So it's a nice data gathering session. We've got some nice profile forms that we use, and some of the guys will leverage the MoneyGuidePro profiling forms as well, right? So they've got a budget data gathering form that they utilize. We've got a retail profile form that we can utilize, and if they want to, they can send us in Houston at the Financial Planning Center the personal financial statement, and we'll build the plan for them and help them get prepared to present. The second meeting typically happens 1 to 2 weeks later, and that's where they present the results and implement the plan. So I don't know the exact percentage, but within 30 days, absolutely. Plan is built, delivered, and implemented, without a doubt. So many of them do it very quickly. For those clients that walk in and want to do a quick plan, that 5 or 10-minute plan, it could happen same day in a 1-meeting approach. Yeah. Good. What other questions do we have? Thanks, Bruce. Yes, please, up front. All right.
So once
Is it on?
Thank you. So once the plan has been created, what happens to the data? I mean, do you take that data and does the data automatically go somewhere, or you create the plan, you print it, you give it to the client, and based on that you make certain decisions and you execute those decisions manually?
Yeah, so that's a good question on the data, right? So the data, it is internet-based technology and tools, so the data is stored online. There's a repository of plans within the report option. That's where typically our advisors will build the plan and save those drafts. And they can save as many plans as they want to, so it's under the View History link is where we keep access to those plans. We have compliance logins for our compliance teams to be able to go in and review those plans periodically, right? So those guys have access to it. Our advisors don't necessarily print the plan 100% of the time. I mean, we're trying to move away from paper also. We just built a huge new tower in the Galleria area of Houston, and it is a paperless environment. We're on laptops, we're on wireless, we're on open seating, there's no closed offices, all of those things. And so we're trying to move away from a paper-based environment just like I think everybody else is. But in the end, that data is stored online. We do not capture any specific sensitive data, so no social security numbers, no addresses, no phone numbers, nothing that could really tie the data back to the client specifically other than their name and the rep who did it. So that data can be presented either paper-based, so they have the option of printing it if they want to, and we've got a nice graphics team at BBVA Compass that'll print it and bind it and give a nice presentation package. Or a lot of our reps have found the benefit of presenting online. So there's a presentation mode in MoneyGuidePro, and it looks kind of like a PowerPoint presentation where you can just go through the screens and you can click right in and get into the details if you want to. So a lot of our reps have found the real power in MoneyGuidePro and planning is just doing the online presentations. Yeah. All right, guys, I think that about wraps it up. So in closing, as I'm getting ousted from the stage, lead with planning. That's our vision. We have buy-ins at all levels, and we're extremely pleased and blessed to work with great partnerships and great teams like MoneyGuidePro. So thank you very much for the invitation.
Thank you, Jon.
All right.